Good morning. It's turned out nice again. Mother, hey, you know what? You're not allowed to swear in the first 16 seconds of a YouTube video. Well, you can, but they'll restrict it and do all sorts of things, you know. So I have to wait another 3 seconds. I hope Tag's not watching. Tag 2056 on Twitter. Because the last time he watched me, when I wore this t-shirt, you know, he made some remarks about me being poor. And that's a friend of mine. So, listen, I'm a granddad, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, guys, I mean, do I ditch this? Or what? I only bought it recently, I don't know. So you're going to have to school me, you know what I'm saying? You know, you young pups and that. So, I don't know if this is sad, or it probably is sad actually. But I was laid in bed last night and I was thinking about John Henry. Sometimes I think about Linda when I'm laid in bed, but no, this was about John Henry, but not sort of like I think about them in different ways. And John Henry, I don't know, I was just, do you know what, because of that transfer link yesterday, which is, well, yeah, I still don't know why we read about that yesterday. And it was, I don't know, I found the whole report just confusing. I'm not saying it's unbelievable. I just don't understand. I did record a video and put it on here yesterday. Admittedly, it is for you know, the supporters of this YouTube channel and the KopTalk members, whatever platform they're on. That's because there was something said in that video that you know, sometimes I like to keep things a little bit more private, but you don't need to watch the video. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, I was left kind of puzzled all day, and I followed a lot of conversation online about this player who I call Dom, because I know I'm like pronouncing names. I forget him anyway. I can't remember his name, but I think we called him Dom in yesterday's video. And you know, like, I know when I do the videos, you know, we have a laugh and a joke, and you know, we try and banter and stuff like that. But when the camera stops, you know, and you just sat, I don't know, outside having a cuppa or walking around your kitchen, you know, doing something to eat, or laid in bed on a night, I think about things. I think about what we spoke that day and what we've learned, and try to piece things, you know, in your mind. Like, I never escaped from it really. And I was getting really wound up really about FSG and John Henry and co. And normally I'm not like that. Well, we used to, you know, get the tripod out on here, and that sounds like a euphemism or something, you know what I mean? There's a joke in there somewhere. But, you know, I used to rant sometimes, and, you know, people will say, get the tripod out. So if you ever see that in the comments, that they're not being rude. But I think these days, if I was to record a video and speak freely like that, I'd probably get into trouble on YouTube, because you can't say anything today because of all these woke fuckers, you know what I mean? I don't mean, like, it wouldn't be intentionally abusive. It certainly wouldn't be threatening. But when you speak sometimes, especially about football, if you're angry, it's passion, right? So there's nothing big or clever about using the F word or whatever. But I don't know. I just think sometimes it comes out in passion. You know, like, I'm fucking sick of you. You're doing me you know what I mean? Like, how do you tone that down and say, you know, I'm upset by you, you know, like, no, you're getting right on my fucking nerves. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's emphasis, it's passion, right? But you can't say anything today. And I was reading last night quite a few things about, you know, the way the Red Sox fans are towards John Henry, you know, what they think about him at the moment. And I know we're not interested in rounders and stuff like that, but it's still their passion, right? It's their sport. Like, football or soccer is our sport, right? We don't care about their sport, and they probably don't care about our sport. But it would appear that many of us share the same feelings about these owners, you know. Now, I don't know if that's justified over there or not. I have no idea. When it comes to assessing whether people are right and fair with the criticism of FSG, with regard to Liverpool Football Club, I know enough about the whole situation to say, well, absolutely, it is fair, it is justified. But I wouldn't know about over there. I don't know anything about it. I went to one game around us in Texas. Tom Raffer, he invited me over, and I did go, and it was an all-day thing, and I was bored off my head. You know, mate, it was terrible. But each to their own. So we mentioned on a live stream on here yesterday. I don't know, when I finished like the live stream yesterday, I don't know if if I save it, if it is then pushed out to you as a notification, as a video to watch. If not, keep an eye on the tab that says live or lives on here, because there is a video, it was a live stream, and it is now left there. It's probably an hour and a half long, I don't know, I can't remember. There might be some things in that, that you might appreciate. And I deliberately didn't include any music in the background yesterday so that I could leave it online, because sometimes people say, oh, I missed you live and I wish I could watch it. But there was no music in it, so it's still on here if you want to watch that. But I think during that live, obviously the ownership came up, because it's all we talk about, because every conversation goes back to them. And I do believe in that video I said, instead of flying aeroplanes over Anfield, which we know won't make any real difference, and the people that organise them, they know that, but I understand why they do it. They feel that they're not listened to, they're not given a voice. Instead of doing that, I'd be flying it over Fenway Park, you know what I mean, or whatever it's called, which I've been to. I think there's some videos on here of that trip, I can't remember. Because I would take it to them, because they get away from the criticism of the football stuff, because they're in America, they're hidden away. And one thing, I don't know, I'm really not being patronising or trying to be or anything, but if you know anything about American business and big business, which they are, Americans, first of all, they're great with customer service and things like that. They like to look after the customers, because reputation and, it's just important to them. So if you were to take the problems to do with Liverpool Football Club, your opinions to do with that, to them over there in Boston, if that's even allowed, I'm not sure that they'd let planes fly over places in America, or maybe their laws are completely different to England. I really don't know. But the point is, I think that would embarrass them. And American businesses do not like being embarrassed, and American business people. And I think that would be far more effective than trying to embarrass them at Anfield when they're not even there. Now, there was an article published, I need to consult Twitter, at Duncan Oldham, at KopTalk as well. It's important, so just bear with me a moment. So it was put out last night by a guy called Bill Speros. Now his Twitter username, if you use Twitter, is at Bill, Bill, Speros. He says sports columnist, Boston Herald is one of the things that he deals with. Okay, that's in his bio. Now, he put out, which I assume he wrote this. Yeah, he did, Boston Herald column link. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but there's your main man, John Henry, Sound of Silence, okay? And it says, Henry talks golf, not baseball. Obviously, I really think you should try and read this article personally, because it'll explain to you what FSU have been up to recently. And he said, John Henry and Tom Werner had 122 words about their new golf venture in a press release Monday. That's 122 more words than Henry has spoken publicly about the Red Sox since February. So there's criticism there, like we would say the same thing, wouldn't we? So we haven't even heard him say anything about Liverpool, right? So they're saying that over there as well. And there is a link, to read that article. I don't believe it's behind a paywall. I can't remember. I'll click on it and see what happens. It might be strange on the phone, I don't know. No, it says here, the Red Sox are on the clock, tick, tick, bust, 100 days from today, blah, blah, blah. So, you have to put an email in to read it. No big deal. So I posted that link on @KopTalk on Twitter and @KopTalk on Facebook. I also put it into the KopTalk chat room, which any of you can join by going to t.me/KopTalk chat. I haven't read any responses to this at the moment. So in other words, I know I'm waffling on. The people over there are not happy about them either. And he's, the picture of him there and stuff, it just comes across as a bit smug. But, the media know what they're doing. They know how to pick a picture and make it go with the vibe of the article. Look at that, you can write a news article or type up a news article or an opinion piece, and if the photograph of it can really contribute to the way the reader is programmed before they've even read it. I know that sounds a bit, like tin hat, foils, hat stuff, but it's true. If you do, an editorial or something and you've got Jurgen Klopp stroking puppies, you go, oh, look at Jurgen, bless him, Whereas if you've got him so it does make a difference, trust me. Again, I'm not trying to patronise anyone, I'm just trying to tell you what to do, to sometimes to get in your head. Anyway, so there is, there's a lot of people out there that are saying, how do we get rid of these people? You know what I mean? And for me, listen, I try to, I wear my heart on my sleeve with everything. I'm a very open guy. I'm very authentic. I'm very even on a personal level, if you listen to my Dunk Knows Best podcast, I say how I feel, I'll say I'm on top of the world, or the next day I'll say I feel suicidal. It's just that's me. I prefer to be heart on sleeve kind of person. So I try to be transparent with my views when it comes to football, because people that are not transparent with their views have agenda or may have agenda. So I like to be very clear, am I FSG out? Yes, I am. In regards, I would like a change of ownership. Yes, absolutely. I am not an FSG hater though, and I don't jump on the, everything they do is wrong. I can still, accept the positives that they've achieved at Liverpool Football Club. But I don't think these people can take us any further forward, and I would have far more respect for them if they just said, look, we tried our best, we did modernise the club, we have secured the financing of, so many commercial deals, we've expanded the state, and they walk away with a great, amount of money for doing so. Fair enough, they put their money in, their risk, they brought their expertise, fine. But I would have so much more respect for them if they said, we've gone as far as we can. We think it's time to hand over to somebody else that can compete with the likes of Manchester City, Newcastle, Real Madrid, whoever, right? Who'd have thought we'd be saying Newcastle, Real Madrid in the same breath? But you know what I mean. So if you're someone out there that's actively one of these FSG out people that say, I really want to get rid of them, don't, it's someone out there has to, this is advice, this is not what I'm, how can I explain this? People often give advice, and the easy response to that is, well, why don't you do it then? Because I'm not saying that you should do this, or that we have to do this, or that I want to do this, or I want to see this. I'm trying to give, what I think would make a difference to those of you that want FSG out. And you have, people that organise the FSG out planes. I spoke to the lad, lovely kid, there's some really passionate people within this so-called movement, or whatever you want to call it. And they are the opposites, if you like, of what has become known as the top Reds. And, the top Reds, some people associate certain supporters groups with that kind of attitude. And there's no supporters group or organisation that represents what might be classed as an alternative view. And I think that is something that really needs to be put together, because I know, as an out-of-town supporter myself, and I've experienced hate on another level on the internet, especially back in the day, because I wasn't from the city, and because of introducing a membership before there was such things as paywalls. I saw what was coming. I got absolutely you wouldn't believe the level of hate that they targeted my family, my children, everything. And I see this happening to some of these lads, you know, I'm sure there's lasses as well, but I haven't seen any, but these lads that are FSG, I've seen them being targeted now by these people, and I can relate to that. I think, yeah, there you go, you've got an opinion, it's different to them, they're coming for you, right? Those people, right, they have such a loud voice, but they don't realise it, because there is so many people out there that is FSG out. And yeah, it's shit that there's divides. We don't want top reds, we don't want, you know, out-of-towners, groups or anything like that. But there's lots of people from the city that are FSG out as well. So my advice or my suggestion would be, someone somewhere needs to form a group and officially go with we are whoever, or we are the, you know, we're the overseas Reds, or we're the out. But that then excludes people that are from the city that would share the same views. The alternative Reds, I don't know. There needs to be a fan organisation or something independent, unofficial. You don't need the club's blessing. You don't need to be recognised by the club. That's the worst thing in the world that can happen. We discussed this yesterday. You can't claim to be unofficial and independent as a YouTube channel, for example, or as a podcast. If you are then interviewing players from the club, they will not let them anywhere near you if you are truly independent and unofficial. Take it from a man that knows. Not that I've ever tried, but I have enough experience of my relationship with the club over the years to know exactly how it works, right? And you know, I can tell you, we opened on here, we were talking about Tag. You know, I know about, you know, Tag worked in a very responsible position at Liverpool Football Club, and obviously knew everyone there, still does. And one of those people was a press officer, was his friend, and that press officer, yeah, and myself, we didn't have a very good relationship, and that press officer allegedly, in my opinion, tried to make my life very difficult online, and actually conspired, in my opinion, with some of these people that didn't like me. You wouldn't believe what goes on behind the scenes. You cannot be unofficial and independent if you have any form of access to the club. It's just not true. It's impossible, because you will never, ever, ever call them out or make things difficult for them. If you make things difficult for them in any way, shape or form, you know, you're going to lose all that shit. So you do need, I think, an organisation out there that says we're an independent Liverpool supporters group. Is there one? Really? Is there like an unofficial Liverpool FC fans? Well, this is what we think. And you lay out what your beliefs and what your hopes are. And you form a committee, right? And that's about as far as it needs to go in that regard. Now, I would then, instead of like, we're going to fly a plane over Anfield, which I think is a great idea. Someone left a comment the other day saying there's going to be one on the first home game. I don't know if that's true. That might antagonise a lot of people that go, for fuck's sake, it's a new season. I understand that. But I also think, yeah, keep up the pressure. Too right. Whatever. I can see both sides of that argument. But I'd be saying, right, we're going to focus stateside. That's what we're going to do. And I would be reaching out to the Red Sox fans that want rid of them as well. Because the power that you've got then between two groups of supporters, two different sports, two different countries, two different locations, FSG will shit themselves. I fucking guarantee they will shit themselves. Absolutely. And you've got to reach out to them lot and you've got to say, look, I know you don't give a shit about us, and to be honest, we don't really give a shit about you. But mutually, you know, collectively, we're not impressed with their ownership. You're not impressed with their ownership. There may be people that are at your side and our side, but we're not. So let's, you know, unite and align and put them under pressure. And I guarantee you that would make a huge difference. I really, really do. Over there and over, well, I was going to say over here. I'm not in England, I'm in Spain. But you know what I mean. I think that's the way forward. I think when you start, you know, I don't want to use the word targeting because that can sound like harassment. And I don't like harassment, and I don't like bullying, and I don't like name calling. But if you, corporate sponsors, people that have working relationships with the club, brands, they do not want their name dragging into anything. That is the only way you really affect FSG, because is financially. And you, by principle, might say, I'm not buying another Liverpool kit. I'm not spending another penny in that shop, right? Or whatever. I don't think that really makes a difference, because for everyone that says, I won't do that, a new fan is born or whatever, and someone will, because they're not as deep and passionate as you, for example. So they don't have that principle. It's the same when people say, I'm going to give up my season tickets, I'm not fucking going. There'll always be someone that'll take the season ticket. So I don't think that's how you get to them financially. I think financially you get to them when you put pressure on the sponsors. But I don't want to make that sound like harassment. But instead of flying, you know, a banner over Anfield saying, are you watching FSG? You know, I'd fly a banner over Anfield and I'd single out one of their sponsors' names, corporate, you know, sponsors, and let's just say Standard Chartered, for example. And I would put, we're coming for you, Standard Chartered. They would shit themselves, right? Because sponsoring, it sounds a bit menacing, doesn't it? But we can giggle about it now, but they'd be like, what the fuck does that mean? And then they're going to be on to FSG going, what the fuck's going on? What's this mean? Don't know, right? And at the same time, you've got an uprising in Boston that's running parallel with an uprising from the Liverpool supporters, and this putting them under pressure. And that is how you influence and progress, in my opinion. So I don't think boycotting games, no one's ever going to do that. I don't think giving up tickets is going to make a difference. I don't think boycotting merchandise is going to make a difference. Yes, I understand both sides of the argument when it comes to flying planes over Anfield. I mean, I don't know. I'm a bit soft. Sometimes I think that shouldn't happen for safety reasons. I'm surprised it's allowed to happen, to be honest with you. Planes in the sky should be in the sky for the right reasons. But there you go. At the same time, I understand, and I'm not going to criticise the people that organise it. I've never supported one, but I do, you know, financially myself, but I completely understand it, and I would, for example, promote it for someone, because it's not for my personal opinions to get in the way, like some of these journalists in the LFC clique that will not interview those people. We discussed that on yesterday's live stream. Shaun brought up into conversation, Shaun is one of the regulars around here, he brought up into conversation James Pearce. And, you know, James Pearce has this habit of, he made I believe he wrote an article or a comment. I didn't see this myself personally, but enough people have said it to me to believe that it's true, that he'd said, you know, FSG don't put money into the club, but they don't take money out either. So you're obviously defending them. And he does poke fun at the FSG out people and things like that. He incites it, and I'm sure he gets a lot of hate, which I don't agree with, but I can understand why people are none too pleased with him sometimes. But I don't see how a journalist, whether it's James Pearce or anybody else, how they can write these articles but not listen to another side of the argument. So you can get all the so-called top reds on, oh yeah, we're all right with FSG and we don't want them pesky Arabs around these parts, you know, we don't want blood on our hands and all that, right? But that's fine, but then the journalist doesn't include these people. I mean, someone organises planes flying over Anfield, and not one of those journalists has reached out to them and said, well, why? Tell us what's your problem. It's just ridicule, online internet, you know, fans. All right, online internet fans that these journalists continually rib and take the piss out of, that wouldn't be in a fucking job if it wasn't for those online internet fans, right? Or whatever you want to call them. It's probably online fans or internet fans, same thing, right? But James Pearce works for The Athletic. Well, it's an online, so you need these people, and you're mocking them and belittling them, and I don't like that. I don't fucking like that. Even if, right, I have a completely different view to someone, I will never, ever, ever take the piss out of them. I think it's disgusting, because that person, they care about Liverpool Football Club, and that's their only crime, whether they're in the minority or whatever. I get people on here coming on and saying, I disagree, FSG, you're all right. I ain't got a problem with that. The only time it becomes a problem is when they're thick, right? When someone, like, any opinion in life, when you just think, hang on a minute, that's just dumb. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just stupid. So I will give anyone, you know, the right to an opinion. Like, that's how I've been brought up, you know, like, what's the point of screaming at each other and shouting at each other? But if someone came to me and said, I've got the complete different views to you, Duncan, I would say, well, that's all right, mate. We can still have a beer. We can agree to disagree. And I would give them the space, say, well, if you want to put a column on KopTalk, I would willingly publish that column of your views, even though they go against my views. All right? Do you see any journalists associated with Liverpool Football Club that when they write about these FSG out people, do you ever see them saying, and I went to meet Dave to talk to him, even if James Pearce, right, because he's the one that keeps coming up in conversation, he's the one that writes these kind of articles but excludes those people, even if James has got this, like, his own opinions, which we're all allowed, right, but they're supposed to be professionals, remember, they're supposed to cover both sides of the argument. Why can't he sit down in front of someone, because this is what I would do, and go, look, I've got a completely different opinion to you. Well, explain it to me. Convince me differently. Give that person, an opportunity to have their views expressed, even if they are the most deluded motherfucker in the world, which they're not, right? But the people that organise these things, they'll be put down until, well, you're not from Liverpool, or it's some foreigner, or it's someone online. Who cares what they've got to say? So because your face don't fit, and when I say face, I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that I'm saying that as a term that we use in, in our language. If your face don't fit, I don't mean because of your skin colour or where you're from. It is kind of where you're from, but I'm not trying to suggest any kind of, racial thing or anything like that. Sometimes I say your face don't fit. It means you don't fit in, right? For whatever reasons, and that can be not physical appearance. It can be your mindset, your opinions. Your face don't fit, right? So these people are excluded, and that's why there's flying planes over Anfield, because no one fucking listens to them. And how insulting is it for a journalist to write, whoever organised it? I know who organised it. I didn't even have to look for that information. You need an organisation that is truly independent, that doesn't want to brown-nose the club, and doesn't want access, and doesn't say we want to say in what happens at Liverpool. No, you ain't got a fucking say in how that club's run. You might think you have if you're part of these organisations. You ain't got a fucking say in it. If I own Liverpool Football Club and I'm a billionaire, I'm going to tell you everything you want to hear. We listen to you. You're fans. You're the fans. Your views are very important. The minute that door's shut, I'll be like, shut up, silly cunt. Fuck it, do what I want. I'm sorry to bring that to you, but it's true, right? So you don't need, some people are desperate to have the blessing of the club. It's probably the worst thing you could ever have. Do you know what I mean? It's the same with these YouTube accounts. I see them pop up all the time. I'll see a recommended video. I don't know why, because I never watch any fucking videos to do with Liverpool Football Club. I watch Adam Naylor's YouTube channel, because I like him. I think he's a good kid. But I won't watch anyone else. And these videos come up and it's like, and we have, and they'll mention one of these clicks, we've got him on. Listen, if these journalists have anything about them, they don't appear on fucking YouTube channels, I can assure you, right? That is for sure. So, for me, maybe it's just the way I am. Maybe it's because I've been around these parts for a while. I know how it works. And if I see a YouTuber or a podcast interviewing one of these hacks, the Liverpool click or whatever, I think that says about, it says about the journalists, I've got to get my name out there, because, you know what I mean, they need the awareness. You don't see Paul Joyce doing this shit. I mean, if he does, it's very rare, because he doesn't pop up very often, although I'm very disappointed with him recently, and I've got opinions about him that I haven't aired yet, which would definitely be for the channel members on here, or channel supporters, whatever side, there's different tiers now, but have a look at it. I'm not trying to be critical of the journalists. I just think that Liverpool fans, from my experience, and I was like this myself when I was in my 20s, if someone to do with the club agreed to speak to you, even if it was a journalist, right? Who gives a shit about journalists anyway, right? But when you're a nobody, or when you're a young lad, or when you've just maybe started a blog or a podcast, and a big journal says, yeah, I'll do an interview with you, you're like, oh, you're buzzing because you think that gives you importance, and that really, I think it's the biggest insult you could fucking have. Because if any of them phone me up, I'd say, no, you're all right, thanks. No, I don't, what do I need you on here for? Fuck that. You peddle shit all the time. you mimic people. Is it mimic or you take the piss out of people? There we go. It's easy. See, when I try to use non-swear words, look, I mess it up. No, absolutely not. And if I rolled out wheeled out. I'm struggling with my words today. If I wheeled out some I'm having an interview with more salary, that'd be the first red flag. People would be like, well, hang on a minute, what's done to get this to happen? Former players, fair enough, they're desperate for a bit of attention. But no, guys, you need an organisation that represents your views, right? That doesn't mean that the existing organisations are bad, right? I know that many people feel excluded from them because their face doesn't fit or whatever. These organisations will say, we welcome everybody. And I'm sure they do. There's a membership fee, right? KopTalk welcomes everybody, trust me. I can assure you right now. Even the most, dumbest FSG fan in the world, if he wants to pay to be a member of my website, he can come in, right? But there's my point, right? So, yeah, we welcome everybody. Everybody's welcome around these parts, of course, right? But that doesn't mean that they represent your views. There's nothing wrong with these organisations. I don't know, they all serve a purpose, but I know that some people feel excluded, and I know that some of these organisations sometimes retweet the views of some supporters that are maybe not from the city or whatever to make them look silly. Similar to what James Pearce has done previously. Create an organisation. If you speak to any of these people, so many of you are involved in this stuff, right? It's no good just going online and going FSG out. Get behind someone that you think is a vocal person, that is passionate, and say, would you be willing to do this? And then don't just let that person go yes and leave him to do it or her. You need to say, right, well, there's 10 of us. I'll do this, you do that. Let's form it. Let's buy a domain name. Boom, you're already on your way, all right? Piece of piss. And you don't need a fancy website. You can link the domain name to a Twitter account or a Facebook page or anything. And then reach out to these people that you know nothing about in Boston and say, look, just go on Twitter, find these people that are very vocal, just like we've got our lot that are vocal, and say, happy with the ownership. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a Zoom call. Let's record it. I guarantee you now, if you have a Zoom call with someone, that's maybe, I don't even have to be known, but someone that's knowledgeable, that's a better way of saying it, knowledgeable about, that can have a conversation and say, well, we don't like the way they run the Red Sox because of, and can give examples of that, not just, the shit owners. That's no good. And then the Liverpool fans that are part of this anti-vibe against them, they will turn around and go, fucking hell, that's parallel to what's happening with us. And this grows then. And then if you get someone from the Liverpool side, the Red Sox fans that are like that, they're going to show that to their fans and go, well, fuck me, that's exactly what's happening here at Fenway. And it's growing together. You've got this thing growing together where you both want the best for your clubs, whether it's the Rounders or whether it's the Sarker. Do you know what I mean? And it puts them under pressure. It really does. It really does put them under pressure. But I want to be very, very clear about something as I end this video. I don't want anyone, and I say this about some of my closest friends online that do this, and I will not participate in wishing harm or saying derogatory things about people. It's just not me. It's not how I was brought up. I understand it. There's no harm in it. If you want to call John Henry this and John Henry that, I get it. Maybe I'm a pussy. I don't know. But for me, I think sometimes you lose. You might lose respect. There must be other people out there that go, I don't like that's a turn off. We had a lad, come on one of my streams recently and say some awful things about John Henry, and I can't allow that. I am FSG out to an extent. And the reason I'm FSG out to an extent is, and this is for the top Reds that might be watching this, it's not because I want reckless, investment, and I don't want us to be like that. Jurgen Klopp insulted my intelligence so much recently when he said that these people, when he implied that we want them to go out and buy 100 million pound players. That's Jurgen helping them. No, I deal with Liverpool fans all day, every day of my fucking life, right? And I swear down, I have never ever seen a Liverpool fan, anyway, even the most deluded, and there are some deluded ones, have ever said anything like that. Or they'll say, we should sign Mbappe or we should sign Bellingham. Is that really deluded? Do you know what I mean? Like, we're an elite football club, for goodness sake. But no one's going out there saying this is my wish list for the summer and listing £600 million players. It just doesn't happen. And Jurgen Klopp's part of the fucking problem when he says shit like that. So I'm FSG out to the extent that I'm sick of seeing my fellow supporters argue and fall out with each other. Like, I'm sick of making videos like this, and then you'll get some smart ass in the comments saying, well, you just made a video about it. Well, yeah, but what else is there to fucking talk about? Every single thing to do with Liverpool Football Club at the moment goes back to the owners. So therefore it goes back to the point, what I'm trying to say here is that, FSG out to me would give like a clean slate. It would, all the people, the so-called top reds that get offended by being called that, and the out-of-towners that think that their support isn't appreciated or valued. And don't you ever justify your support to anyone? Like these people that go to every Liverpool game. How many of you been to? Listen, season ticket holder since the 1990s, right? Every game I could possibly go to in the world. Does that make me any better than some lad or lass on the other side of the planet that could dream of doing that? The effort they put in to get up at all hours, and maybe these people that some people jump on a bus to go to Anfield. Some people set off 2 days before a game. Fuck that. Never justify your support to anyone. It's usually someone that's lost an argument with you before they even started. So fuck that. Don't you ever think that your support isn't important. You don't justify yourself to anybody ever, right? That pisses me off, that. I just want to see everyone come together, and I think a change of ownership would allow that. And rather than turning around saying they're the worst thing ever, they're not the worst thing ever. I can acknowledge the good that FSG have done, absolutely. And I would have so much respect for them if they turned around and said, look, we cannot compete with these people. So we're going to give it to someone that can. And, we all have to, one thing I will say to you as well, all of us, right, have to stop giving so much attention to these journalists, right? Because these journalists, I saw a comment yesterday, it was a very good comment, I think it was on the live stream yesterday, that said a journalist really is just a PR, for someone somewhere. And that's very true. So all these different journalists, right, they've got a contact or friendship somewhere along the line, maybe, and they are basically the PR for that person. So there's ones that will get you certain scoops about certain things. I know usually where they're getting that information from, right? And that's just because of my experience, and I've been around these parts for a long time. 25 years, I've ever told you that. I hope I'm here for another 25 years. I can't go on. I can't go over this all. But like I said yesterday, I think FSG will go. So we need to stop paying attention to these journalists. And I see these people, on Twitter going, "What's Joyce said?" Paul Joyce is fastly losing my respect. I've got to be honest with you. And there are reasons for this, which I haven't gone into yet. And I don't know if I want to talk about it because it'll probably stress me out. Ornstein is very good. Probably now the only journalist that I'm paying attention to. Paul Joyce a little bit. It depends what you're paying attention to them for. And then there's a couple of journalists, right, which I probably won't name in because it would be critical. There's a couple of journalists, let's just say that they appear quite a bit, and at the moment, on various content creators, YouTube channels, things like that. I hate that term, content creator. These two particular journalists are appearing on what I call, heavily commercialized fan channels, where, do you know what I mean? They are run as a business first. Do you know what I mean? First, and then passion, in my opinion. Some of them. Nothing wrong with that. If they, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not my business. But it does give, it can influence the content that you're seeing when people have got objectives. And there's these two journalists at the moment that are kind of in no man's land. They don't work for the Times or the Athletic. They're kind of in no man's land, and they're trying to be very relevant. And they're saying a lot of things, and a lot of supporters are like, has he said anything? I can't explain to you how much it's... They're just tapping in, basically, and using their experience. They're just tapping in from the likes of Romano, Ornstein, Joyce as well. But there are some question marks over Joyce at the moment. Anyway, I know I'm going off on one here, which we don't need to talk about. So that's it. That's all I've got to say. Somebody somewhere, if you are FSG out, and that's what you guys want, I ain't got the energy for that shit. Honestly, I haven't got the energy for it. What'll be will be. I'm not going to cry over it. I'm getting very angry with this ownership, I've got to be honest with you. But I keep telling myself it's only June. It says 29th of June on my phone. It's nearly July. I'm sure we will make more signings. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to be happy at the end of the window. I hope I am. You need to form an organisation, a group. Someone's got to take control of it if you want your views to be taken seriously. And collective opposition, collective opinion is so much louder than all of you individual people shouting FSG out. Right? If you are shouting FSG out, you should be part of an organisation or a fans group and be independent. No, we don't want your blessing, thanks. Not to cause any trouble, or a proper organisation that has a charter or an agenda and says this is why we feel as we do, and it can represent people that feel excluded. It doesn't have to all be about FSG out. The worst thing in the world is to call it the FSG out fucking organisation or something. But I do think that's needed, and I think it's needed to rival certain organisations that think they are above and unique and they're the voice of everything. So it would be good. And there's nothing stopping you having good relationships with those organisations, because everyone should get along anyway, right? So that's what you need to do. And then you need to reach out to the Boston Red Sox Rounders fans and try and see, learn from each other. And I tell you what, when you see John Henry, then his arse will collapse. Honestly, it will. So I don't know if you've enjoyed this video. It's a long video. It's been on my mind since I was in bed last night. I won't watch it back, because if I watch it back, one, I ain't got time. Two, I probably would not upload it. I've felt like that with a couple of my videos recently. You guys have said, no, put them out. Put them out. I am speaking from my heart. I don't claim to know more than anyone else. I certainly don't. I ain't got a fucking clue, if I'm honest with you, when it comes to finances and things. I can't run my own finances, never mind digest what's going on in Boston or at Anfield. I hope I don't come across as condescending, as patronising or troublemaking or anything. I genuinely have no bad vibe to any organisation, anyone that's FSG in or out. I'm not like that. I might mention journalists and say he disappoints me or she disappoints me. It's not personal. I'm just talking about their if you write an article, then you have the right, you should be, people should have the right to review it and pass their opinion, just like people do with my videos. He talks shit, or no, I like his videos, or whatever. So I can assure you, whenever I mention, James Pearce, and the reason I've singled him out is because he was mentioned on yesterday's stream by someone. I can assure you that I do not have a problem with James Pearce, Paul Joyce, any of the cliquey journalists. I mean, I'm just disappointed by them and the way they operate. That's all. I would willingly sit down with all and buy them all a drink, and I'd sit there and go, I don't want to listen to fucking words you lot have got to say, but I'll still buy you a drink. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I operate. That's how I am. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. I guess the alternative to that is thumbs down. I always laugh when I see thumbs downs, because I can't believe that someone gets so angry at thumbs up. I can understand a thumbs up, but if you see someone hey mate, all right. Imagine someone you didn't like or something in the street, you go like that. That's what it feels like. It just feels a bit childish, I don't know, but it does make me chuckle. And if you really appreciate the video and me, then please do hit the the love heart. Nobody's hit that recently. I feel very unloved this week. And read the video description. You can become a member on here now and support the channel. And the more support I get, the more motivation I have to do things. And what that means is, like everyone watching this video, we all have bills to pay, right? In life, this is my gig. This is all I do is KopTalk, right? And that's all I've ever done, really, to be honest with you. So when it's dry, when it's cool, when it's not generating much revenue, whether it's the website or whatever, I sit there and I go, well, I ain't got time to go and stand in the kitchen for an hour and make a video. I need to do some real fucking work. Do you know what I mean, guys? So that's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. So I do appreciate the support you guys give me, especially those of you that are joining on Twitter at the moment. Listen, at KopTalk on Twitter, some of you have joined the subscription on there, which makes you a KopTalk member. I expect that. You're like, it's Liverpool content, right? But some people are doing it on at Duncan Oldham, my personal channel. More than on the KopTalk channel, to be honest with you. Probably because I let rip on that one a little bit. So if you're one of those people, honestly, it's so like humbled and fucking buzzing by that. It's really good. Twitter's my go-to app, as I think most of you know. Not a fan on Facebook and all that shit, but yeah, I love Twitter. And a lot of these journalists that I talk about in this video, you know, I am retweeting their stuff, but privately, you know, to the what's called subscribers, which means the members, and saying what I think, and also doing little audio clips as well. So if you enjoy KopTalk TV, then, you know, Twitter, and you use Twitter, I think you'd like it, you know, but that's up to you. You're not actually missing anything. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to miss anything. It's just if you like, if you can, then there is an option for you. So you need to go. I would go and read the article by the Boston. Was it Herald? I don't know where that is. Let me just find it for you in case you want to Google this after the video. Well, the Twitter account is Boston Herald. The journalist is Bill Speros, Speros. Or if you go on Google, maybe just put Sound of Silence, Boston Herald, and you'll get this article, which is what actually inspired me to do this video. It was on my mind all night. I really wanted to make a video today and said, this is how I felt last night, and go, John Henry, you're a cunt. That's how I felt last night. That's how angry I could be, but then it goes against everything that, you know, that I try to be. You know, I try not to be a hater and mean and shit like that. But I don't like the man. And do you know what? I hate even saying that. Like, there's really, like, unless someone's evil in the world, I don't genuinely have a problem with it. Even people that have hated on me and abused me over the years, and still do, I guess, in some quarters. I don't hate those people, you know. They've got their opinions for whatever reasons, and maybe they're right, but I can honestly say to you, I don't hate people. There's people I go, whatever, but I don't know. I find it very difficult. There's part of me that wants to say, I really hate this motherfucker, man. You know, but that's just anger and passion creeping in, isn't it, from wanting a change. Anyway, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. Like I say, give it a thumbs up. A comment is really important, because if you have sat through this video, it would be interesting to know what you guys think. I like to know if I'm on the same page. Maybe what I'm saying is completely wrong. Maybe you've watched this video and gone, what a load of guff, that don't make sense. Maybe I'm too naive. Maybe it's too simple what I've said in the video. You know, maybe uniting together to create one big voice is a far too simple thing to say. If what I've said in this video is wrong, I'm not sure I want to apologise, but what I would say in my defence is I'm just a football fan. I just care about Liverpool Football Club. I want the best for Liverpool Football Club. But more importantly, as I've got older and it's not the most important thing in my world anymore, I want the best for you as a Liverpool supporter. I want to see you happy as a Liverpool supporter. It hurts, and, you know, I don't like to see you guys when you're arguing and when you're sad and when you want more and when you feel disheartened. And I know that sounds like a lot of, like, you know, sandal wearing, you know, candle burning, tree hugging, you know, guff, right? Maybe it sounds too soft, but what I mean is there are people out there with many things happening in their lives that are not very pleasant. I know one of our, you know, how can I don't know if I should mention the person's name because maybe they won't appreciate it, but they have said it themselves under their username, Idiot Abroad. that watches my videos, struggling in hospital at the moment. Came on my stream a few days ago saying, thanks for all the videos and everything you do, Dunk. You know, you're helping me. I'm in hospital. I just wanted to say I appreciate in case anything happens to me, because they are very, very unwell in hospital. And that really upset me, because it's a username, but behind the username is a real person. And that particular username, that particular person is someone that always brings a smile to my channel, and they care about Liverpool Football Club. And right now, what would make them happy, I'm sure, is seeing a successful Liverpool Football Club. So always remember when people say things, you know, that behind these usernames, everyone's on the same page, really, I think. They want the best for the club, and I want the best for you people, and I certainly want the best for an idiot abroad. And if you're watching this, buddy, get well soon. You've got all of us behind you, man.